How many times a day should a puppy eat BARF, and how to adjust the right amount as it grows. In this video, you will discover the definitive guide to times and portions for puppies on a BARF natural diet, understanding step by step how to adapt the frequency of meals, avoid common mistakes, and follow your dog's growth curve. If you want your puppy to grow up healthy, full of energy, and with a strong body for adult life, this video is a must-have. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Activate the bell to receive new videos about BARF, health, and wellness. When a puppy comes home, the first thing that changes is not only the routine, but also the way we see every detail of its development. Suddenly, every curious look, every awkward run, and even every nap carries a huge weight. They depend on us to grow strong and healthy. And in this process, food is no longer just a gesture of care and literally becomes the basis of the animal's future. That's why so many owners are discovering BARF, the natural food that simulates what dogs and cats would eat in nature, full of freshness, preserved nutrients, and true balance. But when it comes to puppies, the same question always arises. After all, how much to offer and at what times? Mistakes here can be costly because a growing puppy has no reserves. If protein, energy, or calcium is lacking, the fragile body feels it immediately. If there's excess, the risk of digestive problems, overweight, and even bone deformities increases. The challenge is to find the exact point, and that's what we're going to explore now. Imagine a 2-month-old puppy with the energy of a hurricane and a stomach the size of a walnut. He can't get just 2 big meals as an adult because his body can't store fuel for so many hours. What works for an adult dog doesn't work here. The ideal is to fractionate. The younger the puppy, the more times a day it needs to eat. It is a principle similar to that of human babies, who breastfeed several times because they cannot go for long periods without replenishing energy. An 8-week-old puppy, for example, needs to feed about 4 times a day. Small, well-distributed portions ensure constant energy, prevent drops in blood glucose, and allow the body to use nutrients to grow without overloading the digestive system. The tutor often errs on the side of overzealousness. When he sees the puppy ask for food after hours, he offers more, thinking that there is no problem. But the stomach, so small and immature, cannot cope with overload. This can lead to diarrhea, gas, vomiting, and a confusing relationship with food. Another common mistake is the opposite, thinking that 2 meals a day from an early age are enough. This pattern works only after 6 or 7 months, when the body is mature enough to maintain energy reserves for longer. Before that, the risk of hypoglycemia is real, especially in small breeds which expend energy faster. Owners who have lived this experience tell scary stories of puppies who, after hours without food, suddenly fainted. Fortunately, with the right guidance, this is entirely avoidable. And here comes an essential point. The BARF for puppies needs to be calculated not only by age, but by weight and stage of growth. Unlike industrialized feed, which offers standardized measurements, natural food requires observation and adaptation. An active puppy who spends the day running needs more fuel than one who rests most of the time. The tutor needs to see the growth curve as a line that must remain stable, without sudden drops or excessive jumps. It is in this balance that health is found. Amounts vary, but a safe average is to offer between 5 and 10% of the puppy's weight in BARF food per day, divided into meals. This interval exists because each organism is unique. A 3-month-old border collie does not expend the same energy as a bulldog of the same age. And the tutor who understands this learns to look at the body, fur, and energy as more reliable indicators than any kitchen scale. Basically, the big key is to establish fixed schedules and respect them. The body learns, the metabolism adjusts, the puppy feels safe. This predictability even helps in behavior training because the animal understands the routine and feels less anxious. When food always arrives at the same times, anxiety decreases, digestion improves, and the bond with the tutor is strengthened. But that's just the beginning. In the next moment of our journey, we will dive into adapting schedules as the puppy grows, understanding when to reduce the frequency of meals and how to avoid mistakes that often go unnoticed, but compromise the entire process of transition to adulthood. Time passes quickly when we talk about puppies. What today is an 8-week-old ball of fur, tomorrow already looks like a teenager full of energy, jumping on everything, exploring every corner of the house. And this accelerated growth requires the tutor to follow up with fine adjustments in food. Each month, the body asks for something different, and the frequency of meals needs to keep up with this rhythm. In the first 3 months of life, the rule is clear: 4 meals a day, always at fixed times. It is at this stage that the metabolism works tirelessly to form strong bones, firm muscles, and an immune system capable of facing the world. To ignore this need is to make room for growth delays, weakness, and behavior problems. When the puppy enters the 4th month, a subtle change begins. The stomach is already bigger, the digestive organs are more mature, and the body can handle slightly longer intervals. This is where many veterinarians recommend transitioning to 3 meals a day. But this change is not automatic. It should be gradual and carefully observed. Withdrawing a meal suddenly can destabilize the body. The tutor needs to watch for signs. If the puppy gets too agitated between one meal and another, if he asks for food desperately, if he loses weight noticeably, or if the energy drops, it is too early to reduce. On the other hand, if you eat calmly, keep your weight stable and remain active, you are ready to move forward in this stage. At 6 months, a new transition is announced. Here, most breeds can already adapt to 2 meals a day, morning and evening. But beware. Small breeds, such as Chihuahuas and Yorkshires, often still need all 3 meals for longer, precisely because they use up energy quickly and have limited reserves. The attentive tutor understands that there is no single formula. BARF is not about following fixed rules, but about respecting the animal's rhythm. Every adjustment made consciously reflects on vitality, shiny fur, consistent stools, and balanced energy. Another important point is the time itself. Many believe that any distribution will do as long as the full amount is offered throughout the day. But this is not true. The puppy's body responds better when there is regularity. This means that if the first meal is at 7 in the morning, the following ones should obey similar intervals every day. The body starts to release digestive enzymes at the expected times, which improves the absorption of nutrients. In addition, a routine is created that makes life easier for the tutor. By knowing when the puppy will eat, it is possible to plan walks, training, and even moments of rest. Over time, this organization transforms into something bigger, the bond of trust itself. The puppy learns that he can wait for you, that he will not be neglected, and this shapes the behavior. Animals with stable feeding routines tend to be less anxious, easier to train, and more confident in novel situations. This happens because predictability generates security. The brain associates food with the care of the owner, and this association strengthens the bond between you. But there is still a question that always arises. What if the puppy does not eat everything at once? Many tutors are scared when they see leftovers in the jar, thinking that something is wrong. However, in BARF, this reaction can be normal. Unlike kibble, which often encourages overconsumption because it is ultra-processed, natural food respects true appetite. If there is food left over, it does not necessarily mean a problem. It may indicate that the portion was larger than the need at that time. The secret is to adjust little by little, always observing the puppy's body condition. Not too much, not too little. Balance is the word that guides. One of the biggest challenges for tutors who adopt BARF for puppies is to understand that the ideal amount is not written in stone. There is no magic measure that fits all. What exists is observation and adaptation. The general guideline talks about offering between 5 and 10% of the puppy's weight in natural food per day, but this is only the starting point. The real adjustment comes with reading the signals that the animal's body emits. An attentive tutor looks beyond the scale. He observes the texture of the fur, the brightness of the eyes, the willingness to play, the consistency of the feces. Every detail is a direct feedback from the body. Imagine a 4-month-old Labrador that weighs 12 kilograms. Following the rule, he should receive between 600 grams and 1 kilogram and 200 grams of food per day, divided into 3 meals. But if this puppy plays for hours on end in the backyard, spends energy chasing the ball, and is still in full growth, it is natural that he needs the high range of this range more. A bulldog of the same age, on the other hand, less active and with a slower metabolism, eats well in the lower range. And this difference is crucial because obesity in puppies is not just aesthetic. It compromises joints, overloads the heart, and increases the risk of chronic diseases in the future. Another point that many tutors ignore is the importance of stool consistency as an indicator of adjustment. Firm, well-formed, and easy to collect stools indicate that digestion is balanced. Stools that are too soft, bulky, or too frequent show overeating or nutrient imbalance. Dry stools, on the other hand, may indicate a lack of fiber or water. That's why hydration also comes into the calculation. Although BARF food contains plenty of moisture, an active puppy always needs constant access to fresh water. Many episodes of lethargy, vomiting, or apathy have as a simple cause dehydration, which goes unnoticed by even the most careful tutors. And we cannot forget the growth factor. A 3-month-old puppy can double in weight in a few weeks. If the tutor does not adjust the amount following this curve, he runs the risk of offering less and less in proportion to the actual weight. The result can be developmental delay, fragile bones, and a weakened immune system. That's why weighing the puppy weekly, or at least every 15 days, makes all the difference. This is the compass that allows you to correct the course before the body suffers. The puppy's energy is also a powerful thermometer. An animal that eats correctly wakes up excited, plays, explores, and then rests in deep, restful sleep. If the puppy spends too much time lethargic, without interest and stimuli, or on the contrary, if he is always agitated and anxious even after eating, something is not right. It can be quantity, it can be distribution, it can even be the composition of the diet. This is where partnering with a veterinary nutritionist makes a difference. The tutor can observe the signs, but the specialist is the one who translates these clues into technical adjustments. Another detail that seems simple but makes all the difference is the act of keeping records. A food diary, even if brief, helps to identify patterns. Writing down times, quantities, and reactions gives clarity to the process. Over the weeks, the tutor notices how small changes reflect on well-being. This habit, often ignored, can avoid serious problems and ensure a much smoother transition to adulthood. Taking care of a puppy's diet is like laying the foundations of a house. If the foundation is solid, everything that comes after is sustained. But real life does not always allow perfect schedules or flawless routines, and it is precisely in these unforeseen events that many tutors make mistakes that could be avoided. Imagine a weekend trip, a sudden change at work, or even a night when the family comes home later. The risk is to radically alter feeding times, forgetting that the puppy's body is not yet mature enough to deal with delays or sudden changes. The first consequence is digestive stress. The second is anxiety, which can translate into destructive behaviors. Therefore, the key word is conscious adaptation. If a tutor knows that he will be late, he can prepare portions that are already weighed and organized in jars, leaving them to a trusted caregiver, or even using environmental enrichment techniques to make the meal more interesting at the correct time. What cannot happen is that the puppy stays extra hours fasting or receives a double amount in compensation. Another common situation is temporary loss of appetite. Many puppies, in tooth exchange phases or after small vaccinations, eat less. The worried owner insists, forces, or changes the diet suddenly. But this usually only confuses the body even more. The best strategy is to observe. If the lack of appetite lasts less than 24 hours, it is often only a passing reaction. The mistake is to fill the jar with goodies or change the entire menu unnecessarily. The puppy's body needs stability, not surprises. BARF, being fresh and attractive, is generally well accepted even in these periods. But the discipline of the tutor is essential. Attention is also needed to common childhood diseases. Worms, mild infections, or even a gastrointestinal upset can reduce appetite or cause episodes of vomiting and diarrhea. In these cases, careful observation and quick contact with the veterinarian make all the difference. Natural food, when well balanced, helps in recovery, but it needs to be offered with prudence. Smaller, lighter portions may be more effective than large meals. The tutor who understands this avoids overloading the already fragile organism. Finally, it is impossible to talk about how much and when to feed a puppy without mentioning the emotional aspect. Food is more than nutrition, it's a bond. It is one of the first moments in which the animal learns to trust the owner. Each meal offered at the right time, in the right amount, silently says, "You're safe, I take care of you." This gesture repeated day after day shapes not only physical health, but also the dog's confidence, tranquility, and balance throughout life. The tutor who learns to respect schedules, observe signs, and adapt the amount to the pace of growth is not just feeding a puppy. He is building a healthy, balanced, and happy companion, prepared to live many years with his family. And when the puppy finally reaches adulthood, with a strong body, firm teeth, resistant bones, and a look full of energy, each meal passed will make sense. Because the truth is simple, feeding is not just filling a plate. It is to write the future of the animal in every choice made today. If this content helped you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Activate the bell to receive new videos about BARF, health, and well-being of dogs and cats. Comment, how many times a day do you feed your puppy? Share this guide with other tutors who are also starting out in the BARF world.